Russia's strongest ally in Ukraine to the rest of the world, weaponry with the heavy artillery missiles. A sniper's accuracy. Are these the American GMLRS missiles? They have just been developed, arriving in Ukraine in waves. Ukraine has received a lot of American aid away for them to fend against the Russian forces. Dispute that is no longer in Ukraine battle alone, but with many others in line countries engaged in indirect combat via loading. Hello and welcome to KYC News, and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Ukraine has necessary supplies. Standing with Ukraine does mean. Nonetheless, and currently the nations that support Ukraine could include the risk of an invasion itself, especially Poland and Finland. Both countries share borders with Russia, so the distance between the Russian soldiers and these two countries are arming their borders using the same weapon that the United States has given Ukraine. The, if anything, GMLRS rockets is evidence of how important this weapon is used to combat threats. Acknowledging that with tremendous strength and with great responsibility comes demand, the America has now been given a contract totaling a sum of $476.8 million to Lockheed Martin in an effort to address supply issues and provide adequate GMLRs for allies. And launchers. Based on the most recent news, it was Friday, October 21st, 2022. Declared that the American Army had commissioned Lockheed Martin to create the M270 multiple launch rocket systems type A2 for brevity in a contract of value a total of $476.8 million. This improved version of the M270A2 MLRS M270 MLRS artillery's initial generation launcher that discharges a variety of precise weapons, such as the MLRS precision strike missiles and ATACMS, the brand new GMLRs with an enhanced range missiles with a twofold increase in range of its forerunners. The purchase agreement for these launchers was following an increase in military spending by allies, especially those who are close to proximity of countries like Poland and Finland, and other nations have provided support since the beginning of the Russian aggression. Mario Splaszczak, the military minister of Poland, confirmed this, officially attested that Poland's spending grew rapidly resulting from Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the necessity of the Polish army capable of self-defense and deterrence depending on its own protective measures. Possibility to improve this defense. Poland may have organized the acquisition of 6 more Patriot batteries for missile air defense systems, many close-range surface-to-air missile defenses, heavy U.S. exports totaling $4.74 billion, battle machines such as the Abrams tanks, and 500 or more M142 high-mobility artillery rocketry, or the HIMARS. The primary artillery is the HIMARS launcher that Ukraine is utilizing using a GMLRs in combat with Russia, notwithstanding the fact that there have been argumentative approaches to the more. Additionally, deadly assaults should be sent to Ukraine. I'll talk about these in a moment or two. Returning for the moment to Poland and Finland. Poland strengthens its military to match Finland's national government made make a request to buy up to 400 GMLRS warheads with a market value of $535 million. The U.S. recently granted a request. State Department since, currently accepted, understanding that it only be able to combat Russia with dangerous, unstoppable heavy artillery comparable GMLRS missiles. Currently, the GMLRS missiles are deployed. There is the embodiment of American all-weather persistent and responsive fast long-range deployment precision surface-to-surface strike. In reality, because the rockets are so true, they have earned the 70-kilometer sniper's moniker firearm and received a grade for dependability. More than 98% of what the GMLRS owes is precision of the GPS-enabled navigation added to a navigation system inside the body, which work together to direct the GMLRS on their route to its destination to deliver the destruction caused by a 200-pound weapon unitary high-explosive warhead. This warhead additionally includes a further 51 pounds of high-explosive PBX 109 in a case of steel blast fragments to spit 182,000 already formed tungsten pieces, increasing the lethality of attacks light armored vehicles and personnel. The weapon is still being used, updated to become more deadly, and possess these improvements have a wider range. caused the emergence of a variety of missile designs: warhead GMLRS, unitary GMLRS alternative, including the newest GMLRs with an expanded range. The GMLRS alternative and unitary warhead resemble each other almost exactly. The GMLRS unitary, however, includes the GMLRS 200-pound unitary warhead. A different warhead carries a 200-pound weapon. Division of classes warhead. The third, the extended range GMLRS, is a variation. An innovative developmental variation that provides overall increased range of up to 93 miles. Additionally, it adds a more powerful motor and has improved tail-driven technology's capacity to maneuver control. Each of the three GMLRS variations maintain a high degree of all have a commonality and can be used by the bigger or the M142 HIMARS. The HIMARS can carry up to M270 MLRS. This uses 6 GMLR rockets at once. Configuration has been observed numerous times. As the United States continues to send the HIMARS in 4 batches to Ukraine, having received 5 batches, Ukraine is currently 20 HIMARS were provided by the US, and they've actually started working right away. During the second batch, after Ukraine, they were able to bombard 8 HIMARS. Russian forces with sufficient GMLRS rockets to take down 30 Russian command storage for stations and ammo facilities. This really decreased the severity. The pace of Russian shelling and recognized progress in eastern Ukraine, the deadly nature of HIMARS, and that they would only continue to arrive. Sergei Shoigu, the Russian Minister of Defense, he directed his troops to focus despite the fact that quest was unlikely to be successful right now due to the fact that the HIMARS is based on the family of 5 tons that is tough and mobile. List American medium tactical vehicles Army. This indicates that a 290 is what powers it. Caterpillar 3115 horsepower at AAC 6.6, the 3-liter diesel engine to provide crude HIMARS and its most effective 300-mile range with a peak speed of 53. The HIMARS could not go faster than not be cornered, allowing it to maintain its crew. Snaps pictures, then dashes out to an additional vantage point quickly enough for Russian soldiers should exert more effort rather than playing a game of hide and seek fire at their adversary. These skills, together with others, enable the large unit cost of 3.8 HIMARS, making it more expensive, $1 million, despite the $2.3 million MLRS having 200% more than the MLRS. However, the MLRS is lacking in firepower. Also somewhat older, having arrived commenced operations in 1983, 27 years before the in 2010 accomplished HIMARS. Using technology improvements in those nearly 3 decades have been useful to provide the MLRs still remain, giving HIMARS an edge, a powerful opponent on the battlefield. Nonetheless, 3 battalions have been dispatched to, considering that the beginning of the war developed from the automated M2 Bradley 6-wheeled infantry assault vehicle. MLRS truck has a track chassis. MLRs have a 12-round magazine and aluminum armor. Salvo's rockets launch in less than a minute. The additional benefit of on impact 77-28 fragmentation bomblets sufficient to cover 0.39 square miles vicinity of submunitions, and even worse for the adversary, a common 3 MLRS cluster salvo were used. All 12 rockets are fired by each MLRS vehicle. With all its powerful armor and weaponry, the MLRS is still as adaptable as Ukraine would like. That would power the system. Cummins VTA 903 diesel with 600 horsepower. It is propelled to a top speed of by an engine 40 miles per hour, at most 300-mile operating range. The A2 variant, produced by Lockheed Martin, just hired to develop, will a new engine and transmission, upgraded launcher loader modules, armored calves, and the standard fire suppression system that will be installed on the HIMARS in order to facilitate effective shooting of the GMLR's munition with a longer range. The M270 MLRS, like the HIMARS, has a 3-person team. It also employs the same firing pods in the manner of the HIMARS. There would always need to be opposition. Scared about a flood of powerful GMLRS missiles, or far worse, an attack from the nuclear-capable surface-to-surface warfare, an ATACMS rocket so potent it requires a separate section referring to the attackers as a big brother, it's so great, the GMLRS doesn't do it credit. Equipped with a WDU-18, considerably more than that fragments from a 500-pound blast, the ATACMS warhead is a long-range weapon. Missile with operational guidance leaders use firepower right away to win. A is the Deep Battles navigation system using GPS to direct the missile to its target, the distance of 186 miles while flying at a Mach 3 maximum speed. With a level of firing the ATACMS from operating range, the HIMARS or the MLRS, respectively, enabling deep strikes by Ukrainian soldiers, but that would just heighten tensions with Russia, a war according to American claims. It doesn't want prioritizing, prevents escalation, not launching the strike missile, but instead of the smaller GMLRS missiles, cost of firing one attack round, a staggering $1 million for a missile, 6 times as many as the 160,000. The ATACMS's GMLRS unit price proved quite effective in prior wars, notably during Operation Desert Storm about 1990. Now is when the GMLRS must make a decision. Create a reputation for itself in Ukraine, a place in the Missile Hall of Fame as assailants have completed. The GMLRS is undoubtedly headed for this Hall of Fame status, which is a factor in large part in charge of the more than 1,000 Russian-Ukrainian roadways are currently lined with tanks damaged and with a great deal less portions of what they brought to Ukraine, and as a result, they will receive even more deadly. If you watch this channel, I suggest that this video be treated. Similarly, thanks for watching this video in its entirety.